people that you've never been to the Plastinarium before? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah. 1, 2, 3. I said, okay. So just a few. So many of us have been on this tour. However, the Plastinarium is always changing the design. So many of you probably haven't seen this new part because the wall behind you was just built this past 6 months. They're expanding, they're doubling the size of the laboratory. So microphone should be where people can hear me with it. I'm the sound person too, whoops. And so there's going to be a large expansion to their production because they'll have room for it. So they changed this area to be, no, I'm for the camera, not for you. It's for you for later. If you can't hear me, let me know and I'll talk louder. Sorry. So anyway, they've just done this really beautiful portion of the exhibit that gives a more in-depth look as to what the plastination process is. And of course, all of the pieces that we've done, the ones that were shown in Berlin at the Congress, went through this same process, as well as, of course, the full body full body specimens go through. So the very first stage we're never involved with. This is the embalming process, which some of you may know more about than I even do. But they have, if you want to come back later and read the little signs that they have here, they even have more information about how they do the bone work on that side. So this would be stage 1, is fixing. We only worked with fixed fixed cadavers at the Plastinarium because dissection takes so long. You're talking about 6 months of dissection. Fresh tissue would never withstand that level of going back and forth into a freezer. So that's why they use the fixed tissue. And it's fixed pretty firmly for the same reason. It gives them something more durable to work with so that they're not destroying the specimen. So next is right over here, stage 2. Sorry, was that also supposed to be dissection? Yes, I guess it was, because now we're already, so there's another step called dissection, which of course takes, they said, like up to 6 months. Our specimen that we just completed, we actually had 13 weeks of dissection that we spent over the course of 6 months. So it wasn't 6 months straight. But once dissection is completed, the next step is dehydration and defatting. And the reason for that is that fat or lipids do not cure. And so they will stay in an oil state, and it will destroy the plastin. It will be dripping oil. It's very bad. So they have to get rid of all of that. And they also have to dehydrate the tissue by replacing it with acetone. So the acetone pushes the water out of the body from the cellular level. And then the acetone is what interacts with the polymer. So the first series of baths is high temperature and low temperature acetone. The high temperature dissolves the fat. The low temperature replaces the acetone, or replaces the water with acetone. From that stage, they take it into the plastination stage, which must be the next one. Okay, we'll keep going. This is removal of body fat. So once you have a plastinate, and they have examples in here, if you want to come around and look, you can. Forced impregnation is putting the specimen into a vacuum chamber that forces the acetone out, and it sucks the plastinate in. And so all of the acetone eventually is completely removed, and all of the plastic polymer then completely infuses the tissue, also down to the cellular level, which is what you want in order to have a preserved specimen that will stand the test of time. So that's the vacuum forced impregnation. And the timing on this is approximately 6 months as well. I didn't say that. So all of these baths together, I don't know how much variety there is. My understanding is it doesn't exactly matter the size of the specimen. It still takes that long. So the defatting, the dehydration, and the forced impregnation all together, that's about 6 months worth of time. Okay. So now we're at 1 year.
Those people who worked on our body 1, that we call Freya, she is now in the defatting stage.
Right, yes.
And she will continue with this.
Yeah, that's great. So moving into the next area. So this is kind of the final stage, and not exactly final because there's a lot more that still happens after this, but once you have the fully infused plastinate, it's kind of a honey-like consistency, as those of you who were here remember. It was a very gooey and kind of sticky, drippy sort of condition. And so positioning has to happen at that stage. It's still flexible and soft, and they can then, with many, many pins, what plastinates I've seen, and you see in that area, it's usually more than even that, the number of pins that help hold everything exactly into the position they want before it's cured. And curing is done through gas, and the gas interacts with the polymer to fix it into kind of a rubbery sort of consistency, which is the final plastinate form. Is that all they give us? Is there another window? Last window. Okay, so after that, there's a few other things that finish it. The finishing of the addition of color. So you can see these are still quite pale. There's no distinction really in the tissue. It looks a lot how a fixed cadaver looks. And so the colorization of the muscle tissue or of anything that they're highlighting happens after that, and final preparations and trimming and positioning for the final display. And that's it. It's pretty straightforward, but it takes a lot of work. So now what we'd like to do is to invite our team to kind of keep their eyes on us, to let us know when you see the plastinate that you want to talk about. I already know where Fauna's is. I don't know where the others are. But I think we'd like to start with Gary talking about the first plastinate that's around the corner here, yeah?